A big part of the allure of sci-fi movies has always been the awesome technology that they have in them. It's fun to watch, but what is even cooler is that many of those inventions have inspired creators to really make them. These are technologies in movies that inspired real-life creations. Holograms. Whether they are used for performances like Michael Jackson being a part of a concert years after he has died, or a rapper giving his wife a birthday hologram of her father telling her how amazing her husband is. We all know holograms are actual things that are around at the moment. But they were first seen in movies long before any of us thought they would ever be reality. Right in the first Star Wars movie, we saw Obi-Wan Kenobi getting a message that was a hologram message. And that might be what inspired the researchers from Brigham Young University in Utah to make a true hologram. They use lasers that trap particles along with other lasers that emit colors onto these particles to create pictures and images. It can't be done on too big of a scale just yet, but there are other ways of creating hologram types of images that just aren't really three-dimensional. But they are seriously cool and straight out of a movie. Smart watches. If you were anything like me, then as a kid you ran around playing spies and talking into your watch, even if you didn't actually wear a watch and were just pretending. But now it's come to a point that you don't actually have to pretend when speaking into your watch, and no one will be giving you strange looks when you do it. It wasn't a movie that had the first smartwatch, but rather a comic strip that came out all the way back in the 1940s. The Dick Tracy comic strip had the detective have a special gadget that he can speak into that'll give him information. But that wasn't the last time that a smartwatch appeared in fiction. It was really something that was used in sci-fi many times. Movies like James Bond, Inspector Gadget, the Men in Black movies, and so on have all included gadgets that are similar to the smartwatch we know today. But they have really moved out of the world of fiction and into real life, with smartwatches being pretty common to use today. Devices like the Apple Watch or the Garmin Fenix give you the entire world on your wrist. Most of the smartwatches connect to your phone, so you can make phone calls with them or send and check messages. You can also browse the internet, so your watch can give you the answer to any question that you have. And they can do it almost instantly. These watches go even further than the watches of these sci-fi movies. They can do so much more. Some of them have location capabilities and can even give you directions to travel in. Others can track your fitness. Every step you take, they're watching you, giving you health updates and loads of information, which with the technology of today doesn't seem all that impressive. But think back to the time in the 40s when these smartwatches were first works of fiction. The technology then was nowhere near what it is today. The smartwatches that we have now would blow your minds of those writers. Artificial intelligence in robots. This is another trope that's been used by many different science fiction movies through the years. One of the first to use it was probably Blade Runner, which revolved around the use of synthetic humans who used artificial intelligence. But in most movies that use AI or robots, things normally go very wrong. Just think about movies where computers developed the abilities to think and crash all systems, or where robots became so intelligent that they start to take over the world and destroy humankind, like in movies like Terminator. So generally, people can be a little bit cautious when it comes to things like intelligent robots that are very agile. But in reality, these things can actually help humans in a lot of different ways. For example, computers have been trained by NASA to be able to find exoplanets through the use of computer-based learning. And robots today have gone to the next level and have started to become more realistic and human-like. Creations like the Boston Dynamics robot Atlas or Honda's Asimo are pretty incredible. They're able to move like humans do. They can walk, run, open doors, and even do parkour or gymnastics. But don't get scared, these robots are also used for good, not evil. These robots have also been developed to help people. The Atlas, for example, is created for the use of search and rescue operations. The fact that they can move and do things that humans can do with a real plus, it means they can go into areas that can be dangerous for humans. Like after a natural disaster, these robots can be sent in quicker if there are dangers of sending in humans. If things are still unstable, then they'd be able to walk on uneven surfaces, move rubble, dig and open doors, and do all sorts of things to find people that have been injured or killed and retrieve or help them. The same goes for dangerous places, like when there's been a gas leak or other dangerous substances are around but people are still trapped inside a building. It'll eliminate the time it takes to make the area secure and safe for humans before rescue teams can go into them. Instead of risking more lives, they can send in robots and they can scout the area. Some police units already have smaller robots in their bomb squads. These robots are sent in when a bomb or a suspected object is found, and they can disarm it or move it, while humans keep their distance and stay safe. Hopefully we'll never have a robot uprising, but artificial intelligence and robots have come a long way, and up to now, they've done incredible things for humans. Mobile phones. Most of us can't live without our mobile phones, and it's hard to imagine that it hasn't been that many years since mobile phones have become common. The first mobile phones were bulky and heavy and were super basic. And in just a few decades, they've gone from those first phones to the smartphones we're all attached to. But back when the first device that was similar to a flip phone appeared on our screens, people were used to communicating through phones that were attached to wires and only available in the home. In Star Trek, the original series, the crew members all have handheld communicating devices, and we see Captain Kirk use his. They use it on the ship, but they can speak to each other when on different planets. Looks so much like a flip phone, that's no wonder the rumor started that it was the inspiration for mobile phones. People have long believed that the inventor of the first mobile phone, Martin Cooper, based his new creation off of these communication devices. But since then, he has spoken in interviews about this rumor and said that he didn't get his inspiration from Star Trek. Rather, he got this idea from the Dick Tracy comic and the wrist two-way radio that the character used in that comic. Either way, we're so grateful that he got the inspiration and started on the journey that would give us mobile phones. Self-driving and driverless cars. Movies have been fascinated by cars that can drive on autopilot or cars that can drive completely on their own for years. Movies like Demolition Man, Total Recall, and I, Robot, among a bunch of others, have all had scenes of cars that could drive on their own. And for a long time, that seemed like it would never come true. I mean, really. Who would want to get into a car that drives itself? And how would they even know where to go to? But that all started to change with the strides that GPS technology started to make. Suddenly, a computer could easily pick up your current location, and if you input a destination, the computer could easily direct you to where you wanted to go. And quickly strides were made in sensors and other technology that would make it for a safe computer to monitor the other drivers on the road. The computer can also brake and move around with motorists. Some even said that it would be safer than a human driver that can make human errors. These driverless cars might be a really useful tool for humans. They can do other things during the commute instead of actually driving. And in instances where someone had a drink or few too many, there wouldn't be the issue of people driving while intoxicated. NASA has also expressed their intention of sending these types of vehicles to other planets or the moon, and they can explore the area. It might still sound like it should be really futuristic, but it's reality today. Many areas are still working on laws and allowances for these vehicles, but they're very real and can already be used. And in some places like California, some of these vehicles are already on the road. And there are even some cab services that are making use of these types of cars. So, can you order one online and get into a driverless car to get your destination? It seems wild, but it is very real. Video calls. Many of the older movies that were set in the future have a special way of making calls. They'd open up a device, normally a bigger screen, and speak face to face with their friends. Or they'd make a video call to a supervisor and try to hide the fact that things have gone wrong somewhere along the way. But except if you've been hibernating for the last few years or so, you know that this is in fact very real. Even before we were all doing our business meetings on Zoom or Skype, we can make video calls on iPhones or Androids. Seeing loved ones around the earth in real time is easy, even if it once was science fiction. These inventions of sci-fi sounded really out there, but now they're a part of life. Thanks for watching.